Welcome to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, bringing baby boomers proven strategies and innovative products for getting fit, staying fit, so you can live a longer, healthier, and happier life. Here's your host, best-selling author and fitness advocate, Phil Ferris.
This is Phil Ferris, and welcome to our show. Never Too Late for Fitness Radio provides answers and straight talk about fitness, nutrition, and healthy lifestyles for people over 50. Our goal is to educate and advocate health and fitness strategies that help you to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. On some shows, we feature everyday people like you and me who have acted and reclaimed their health and fitness. We all love a success story, especially if the person is facing the same challenges we are. Hearing real success stories helps inform, motivate, and inspire us to live a healthier life. On other shows like today's, we focus on health and fitness industry professionals who share how they help their clients who are over 50 achieve their goals. My guest today is Amy Baltes, RD, LDN. She works with all age groups and many nutritionally influenced conditions, including, but not limited to, weight challenges, digestive disorders, allergies, metabolic concerns, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, ADD, ADHD, mood imbalances, immune and autoimmune conditions, hormonal imbalances, environmental toxicities, and skin disorders. Amy partners with Equilibrium Personal Training in Barrington, Illinois, to provide complete wellness through individualized therapies and optimal nutrition needed to feel empowered and in charge of their present and future longevity, allowing each person to obtain the highest quality of life. Well, thank you, Amy, for being on the show today.
Thanks, Phil. So glad you could have me today.
Well, to begin with, can you tell us about Equilibrium Personal Training and describe the types of people over 50 with whom you work?
Hey, Phil. Equilibrium is one of those places where you can come to and feel at home. And that's one of the things I love and why I've worked with Kasha and Marchin for so many years. Is because it's we have every modality to help people to build a toolbox to help them get fit and healthy in so many ways, from the nutrition aspect to the exercise aspect to Thai yoga to all of that. We offer all of those modalities to help people depending on where they are in their fitness level, whether they're just starting out, getting over surgery, post-physical therapy because of something. We have every modality to help people. And it's just a beautiful, nice, homey place that you can come to and really not feel like you're in a gym with a whole bunch of knuckleheads.
I've been in gyms like that.
Yes, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about the people over 50 with whom you work.
Well, you know what? We work with actually a ton of people over 50. We have, I want to say one of our oldest clients is in her 80s.
Okay.
Mike's been working with her for years and years and years. And we have males, we have females, we have people who are ultra stressed out. You name it, we pretty much have the gamut of people who are over 50 who are just really trying to find a way to grow old with vigor and vitality to live the best life that they can live.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about the specifics of the specific issues that people over 50 have. And again, there's a gamut of people that are, running marathons, and there are people that are doing bodybuilding, and then there's people that are just trying to get by in everyday life. But what are some of the issues that are specific to them and that you come into contact with and that you help them address?
Well, I'm going to give you a very specific example of a woman that Kasha and I actually work with together. So Kasha is one of the owners and personal trainers. We have a woman who's actually a physician, a cardiothoracic physician, she's over 50. She's getting in there. She's doing heart transplants, any type of heart surgery or whatnot. When she came to us, She was having lower back issues. She was having knee issues. She was having ankle issues. And a lot of it had to do with her biomechanics. So she had a lot of inflammation going on too, because she would go long periods without eating. So there was a lot of aspects. And now she's squatting, she's pulling, she's lost some weight, she's stronger. She feels more confident when she's in there doing her work. And her nutrition, we've like really individualized her nutrition plan to help her to accommodate, her erratic schedule. And it was night and day, the difference with her. Her energy level is better. She feels better. She's sleeping better, all because we really kind of individualized her exercise and her nutrition plan to really meet her needs. And that's the one thing that makes us so special, is that we have people who come in who are totally can barely walk, and now they're thriving, which is amazing. Quality of life is so huge for her. And she's just more successful now because of it.
When you compare the motivation of, let's say, a 25, 30-year-old that goes to the gym and seeks out nutritional advice and someone in their 50s, what are some of the biggest difference in their motivation and goals?
I think there's kind of two different things that are in regards to somebody's motivation and goals. Is the first one is knowing, I'm going to kind of make it a little bit more global and then give you a specific example. Is globally, we have a sick care system, not a healthcare system. And the problem is that especially those 50-year-olds, when you're kind of like grappling between what my doctor said and society and what's going on. I was in the doctor's office with one of my kids once, and there was a woman with bottles of medication thinking that the answer to every problem is a medicine. What's beautiful about the 50-year-olds is the 50-year-olds are a little bit more open to that, and a little bit more open to, okay, what can we do to get our body working and functioning and doing what it needs to do? And then we don't need a medicine for every part of that. And so specifically, you can kind of get in there and really hone in on getting the body to heal itself. And when you give it the right movement and you give it the right nutrition and you fuel it the right way and you look at each person as an individual, you can really hone in on those treatments to help them to grow old with vigor and vitality. Does that kind of
No, that makes a lot, because I know that a lot of research says that the people over 50 are more willing to try alternative approaches to health. One of the problems is they always don't tell their doctors about it because they're intimidated by the doctor, because I'm afraid to tell them that I'm using protein or I'm using a probiotic or and so there's a certain amount of frustration with people. It's that I'm frustrated with my doctor because their answer is another medication, medication on medication. And once you get over 2 medications, you can't predict the interactions between, I don't care who you are. It's everybody's different, so it'll respond differently. So they get frustrated with doctors because they can't get a solution to the problem other than more medication, which makes them feel bad. They say, I don't know if this is because of the cause or if this is because of the reaction from medication. Right. So what is it that you do that's different than what the doctor does?
What we do that's different is we get to the underlying reason why things happen and fix it. So and this is, again, I'm going to come back to our 50 and 60 year olds. When we start getting into the baby boomers, they're a little bit more, not quite as open-minded, but our 50 and 60 year olds are way more open-minded to say, hey, you know what? Something's not working and let's fix it. So kind of like, if somebody keeps throwing rocks at the glass and we keep fixing the glass, but we don't stop the person from throwing the rocks at the glass is going to continue to break.
Okay.
So kind of like whether it's constipation or inflammation or, there's all these issues that we do and we get to the underlying reasons. So let's talk bowel movements. Constipation is a big issue with people. And sometimes it can be as simple. I remember working with somebody He was probably in his mid to late 50s, an executive who was just tired all the time. His digestion wasn't working quite as well. And all I did was have him drink more water. And he started sleeping better. And I mean, in night and day, the difference just from something so simple. And then we can look at, removing dairy. What if dairy is an issue for you? And then how to find alternatives. They're like, well, but I'd like to have a little bit of ice cream every night. So let's make banana ice cream. Let's freeze some bananas, throw it in a blender, throw it in the oven, and we can add chocolate to it. So there's a lot of things that you can do to get your body working like it's supposed to. And sometimes it's the underlying things. And that's where I specialize in, because I also do a little bit of alternative testing. So I do hormone testing, I do hair testing, I do kind of look at what is it that's causing your body these issues and how to get it out of the system. So, and that's where we do too, is like biomechanically if somebody's sitting at their desk all day looking at Zoom, is there a way that we can get some movements in that will make it so your lower back isn't hurting you so much again? So it's kind of getting to that underlying reason, as opposed to taking anti-inflammatory drugs, which can cause digestive issues, which can cause you not to think so clearly, and the brain fog and all the issues that kind of come along with that.
It's interesting. You mentioned the testing that you do.
Yes.
And again, this is, one thing is what supplement, one of the problems a lot of people, they'll read an article. Oh, I should have vitamin D, or I should have this, or I should have that. And then that's what they want. But that may not be what they need. It may be something, it works, but not for you. So Tell me a little bit about how you use your tests to make sure that the recommendations you make are specific to the issue. Otherwise, you're just being like the doctor and complicating things.
Right. Well, I'm gonna kind of take that, and I'm gonna answer that in a little bit longer way. And the first and the foremost is to remember is that food is the fuel that makes your body work and function to do everything it needs to do, for your heart to beat, for your lungs to breathe, for absolutely everything to happen. Food is what makes that happen in your body. The part that's so difficult in modern medicine is always trying to find the one thing that makes it work, the one vitamin, the one mineral, the one thing. But when I look at a blueberry, or I look at we're talking a lot about elderberry right now, because with COVID and immune system and all that kind of stuff, and the elderberry is super powerful. When I look at those superfoods, sweet potatoes, carrots, squashes, all of those superfoods, there's thousands of plant chemicals that naturally occur in them that make our body work and function and do what it needs to do. It's never about the one. So we talk about vitamin D. Vitamin D is a hormone. We talk about zinc. We're talking about vitamin C. But the problem is your body knows what to do with real food. So that's sometimes the issue. The issue is when we're supplementing with individual or single nutrients. The other issue is that when we start reading about alternative medicine, is that there's kind of two different theories in regards to that medicine. One is we can do the same thing with supplements and take supplement after supplement after supplement, or we can get the body working like it's supposed to. So we only have to take a couple of supplements to get our body doing what it needs to do. So sometimes there's things that we can use, what's called adaptogens, get our hormones balanced, get them balanced, so that when we're improving our nutrition and we have the exercise, we only need a couple things to make it work. So for example, I have a lot of people who have autoimmune issues. Autoimmune issues are when the immune system starts to fight itself. So rheumatoid arthritis, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel syndrome, all these things that get your body starts fighting itself. And the problem is sometimes we just need to reset. And sometimes in a reset, I'll give the body supplements to help reset, but then they only need a few things to make it work, because now they're eating more fiber, they're eating more beans, they're eating more fruits and vegetables, they're eating more of that. So it's getting to those underlying reasons and looking at the whole big picture. So where the testing comes into play is I can individually look at I can do a hair analysis to see if somebody's got too much mercury in their system. I do something called GI mapping. If somebody's got a lot of stomach issues or GI issues, I can actually look at the GI map. I can look exactly how to rebalance the microbiome in the lining of the digestive system, which will help with inflammation, mood, all sorts of stuff. We rebalance that. Then we look on the regular parts of things that they're normally getting in their diet. And they're only on that stuff for a very short period of time. The body resets itself and you're good to go. And that it's amazing things happen. Energy levels, sleep, sex drive, all the things that in our 50s that we want to feel good and we want to be more productive. We want to be, doing stuff with our kids. There's all sorts of things that can go on. And when you feel great, you're living the best life that you can. And we've got all those tools to do that.
And one thing that you kind of mentioned that I think is pretty interesting is that oftentimes when you get a prescription, it's a prescription for life. This is something you're going to have to take forever, which is good for the pharmaceutical companies. You're talking about let's reset your body so that it does what it's supposed to do so you don't need those medications.
Right.
So once you get it reset, the body's already is built to digest food, provide energy, to heal itself. And if you give it enough water, you give it enough rest, you give it the right nutrition, it will function and give you what you want.
Right.
And let's be honest, for people over 50, a lot of us have abused our bodies with a variety of fast foods and adult beverages and other things that that have slowed the functioning of the body. But that doesn't mean you can't reset it, like you said, and get it to the point where that it will function, and so the inflammation will go away, so the energy will come back. So that's a good point for people to remember, that a lot of times when you get it reset, it's not something a supplement forever.
Right.
Okay.
And here's one of my favorite stories is a woman came in to see me, had a lot of hormone issues, she was a little bit overweight. She just wasn't feeling well. Stress was super high. Had a husband who was not well, whatnot. And the problem is she was doing everything like she was supposed to doing. She was exercising. She was eating well. She was, she was a sugaraholic. She had so much sugar, too much caffeine. She was drinking soda, all that. We cleaned all of that up. And then the problem is that her doctor refused to take her off cholesterol-lowering meds. One of the side effects of cholesterol-lowering meds is diabetes or insulin resistance, meaning that your body will hold on to fat, and it causes blood sugars to go awry. The issue then is that then the doctor was ready to put her on a drug called metformin, which helps with insulin resistance. And I'm like, well, let's try something crazy. Let's go off the cholesterol-lowering drugs. Once we took her off the cholesterol-lowering drugs, we changed things around. I tested her hormones. Her cortisol was all over the place. Got her so much into balance. Cholesterol came down beautiful. She started losing weight. She was building muscle. Everything happened. And in traditional medicine, the doctor was ready to put her on yet another medicine.
Okay. Because that's how what they're trained to do. It's not good or bad. That's just what, for an acute situation, that's probably a great place to go. But for lifestyle.
Absolutely. I would want drugs. I'm in a car accident. You give me the good stuff. But when it comes to growing old with vigor and vitality, and leading the best life that you can. And it's okay to do some of those stuff that you are talking about, a little bit of adult beverages, whatnot. But when we're constantly doing that day after day after day after day, it's just not a good situation. Your body doesn't have all the tools it needs to handle it. You've got to figure out a nice balance between, okay, what can I enjoy? And what do I need to do to get my body working better and feeling better? And then sometimes you just don't need some of that other stuff. Body works better. You feel so good.
Now, what in working with that population over 50, what are some of the biggest misconceptions they may have about getting older and fitness?
Okay, so the one misconception that we cannot change is the fact that every human being will die.
Okay.
Other than that, we can grow old, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it more, is the objective here is to grow old with vigor and vitality. And talking to people who are over 50, they're going to know Jack LaLanne. We all kind of grew up with Jack LaLanne and the juicer, and he was literally doing push-ups until I think he was 96 or 98 when he finally passed away. But he was just the pillar of health and really kind of started this trend of, okay, you know what? When I give my body the right fuel, it can heal itself. And so that's the part that's that reset, or that misconception is that disease happens. 1 in 4 women will get cancer. 1 in 3 men will get cancer. Heart disease is rampant. 78% of disease is preventable through diet and exercise alone. 78%. We can make huge. So that biggest misconception is that because my parents had cancer, or because my parents had heart disease, or because this happened in my family, that I can't do anything about it. There's something called epigenetics, is how to turn your gene on and off. We can change things because the human body is so resilient. And when you exercise and you give yourself better nutrition and you focus in on the good stuff, 80 to 90% of the time, you can prevent all of it from happening. So the biggest misconception is that because we're getting older, disease is automatically going to happen. We're all going to get arthritis. We're all going to, get macular degeneration. We're all going to have inflammation. We're going to all need knee replacements. That is a misconception, and it doesn't have to happen.
Okay, and I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, every year I pick 1 or 2 areas which I will exceed my performance from the previous year, whether it be in strength or endurance or whatever. To say, okay, I'm in better shape in some areas than I was a year ago. So it's reverse aging. It's like every year I can do more of this. I can do faster this. I can do not everything, because it's like you can do anything. You just can't do everything.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't have time to focus on everything. But there's constant improvement in terms of physical health and the stuff that gives you functional longevity.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, let me ask Amy, how would someone know if they were a good candidate for working with you as a nutritionist?
A good candidate is somebody who is willing and open to try new and different things, and wants to get off medicine or wants to improve their health in any way, is a person that is a good person to work with. Somebody who continues to go to the doctor and doesn't understand why they don't feel so well. I specialize in perimenopausal and menopausal women. Men have something called andropause. All the issues in regards to hormones. I can help people to feel better when we, deal with the biggest issue, which is sometimes stress. So sometimes it's stress, sometimes it's exercise, sometimes it's not. We have 6 pillars of things that we need to be doing on a regular basis: drinking more water, exercising, use your safer, cleaner products, eating more real whole food, all those things that kind of help our body to do what it needs to do. And the candidate who works with me is the candidate who wants to feel better and is willing to do something about it. Those are the candidates who really can come in and want to devote a little extra time, money to do it in a way. But we develop plans that help people fit within their lifestyle as well. We have from very busy professionals to busy moms to anybody who is looking to make a change and wanting to do something about it.
And you were talking about the role that stress has, and I want to talk about in today.
That's me.
Yeah. Well, the thing that you forget with the COVID pandemic, everybody has been introduced to new levels of stress that they've never, in terms of isolation, in terms of uncertainty, in terms of fear, anxiety, things that we can't control. And so our normal coping mechanisms may not be enough. So I've talked to a lot of people that say, hey, I'm not really stressed at work. I'm not really stressed with the family, but I'm feeling all the symptoms of stress. And I said, well, turn on the TV, turn on the computer, turn on the fact that you say, oh, I'd like to see my kids. Oh, I can't. Oh, let's go out and do something. Oh, I can't. All these normal coping mechanisms for socialization, for self-validation, for a lot of other things aren't available to us, or a lot of them aren't. And what that's going to have is an impact on your body and how it functions. So you have to, for some people, I've just told them, get the Breathe app, or get something where you just periodically just taking some deep breaths every once in a while, just chill and just let your body reset during the day, because it's getting bombarded with stuff that we're not even aware of. So, we're stressful times, and it's not because we're in a more stressful job. It's just it's more stressful times now.
Absolutely. Stress is huge. And, I think it's one of the reasons why, as I've evolved as a dietitian, nutritionist, whatever word you want to use, is really because of stuff that's happened in my own life. I have 3 teenage children right now, and 1 in college, 2 in high school. So this whole learning, whatnot, and kind of applied all of that to my own, to what's happened to me, so that I can help more people. And that's one of the things I love here about Equilibrium is really kind of helped in regards to the exercise part. We've got a grab and go fridge that's got some great food in it. We've got all sorts of stuff. But one of the testing I started doing probably about 12 or 13 years ago is adrenal testing, or hormone testing. I use a test called Dutch test, which is a way for me to kind of look at those hormones and how our body reacts to stress, because of so much uncertainty right now. And from people who are lonely, because people are lonely, to the uncertainty, to understanding that. And that's, again, coming back to this core, is when you realize how powerful your body is, it helps to deal with the fear. But if there's all these stressful, oh gosh, I'm starting to gain a little bit of weight around my midsection, or God, I feel so inflamed, or I'm not sleeping well. And those tools that you talked about is the breathing, the getting out and walking, all the exercise part of that. But sometimes affirmations are a great way. But sometimes it's our body is under so much stress. And when you're looking at media, we're not social media, we're all that, as well as all the other things that can cause stress in our life. That's a great way to kind of look at, okay, how is my body dealing with that? We have cortisol. Cortisol is secreted by our adrenal glands. And our adrenal glands secrete all of our mother hormones. And it's a way to look at and see how somebody's body reacts to stress, because everybody is different. And then that way I have the tool to kind of help you to, okay, let's, can't get out of bed in the morning. I have difficulty. My mind is racing at night. I know exactly what to do to help you to get the tools in your toolbox to help to get your body to deal with that stress, because stress is huge. Stress reduction is, again, one of those 6 pillars of what I need to do, reducing that stress.
There's chronic stress that we always have. I mean, we have an event of stress. And then one example, one person said, take a 5-pound weight and just hold it out. And that's not stressful. Now do that 24 hours a day.
Right.
What's that going to do to your body? What's that going to do to you? And that's really what this bombardment of stress, environmental stress, emotional stress is out there. And, don't feel bad. I mean, everybody has to find coping mechanisms. So I mean, if someone were on the fence thinking about using a nutritionist like you, what would be some information that you would give them to try and help them decide whether this was worth it or not for themselves?
Well, that's, one of the things I think, again, that makes me, I would like to sometimes call myself a nutrition detective. And so first of all, I'm always happy to do a 10 to 15 minute consult with somebody to kind of ask them to go through, what do you have going on? What are you doing? What tools do I have to help them to overcome? And sometimes there are certain situations where I'll be like, well, we first have to make sure that there's nothing physically wrong with you. And I will actually send them to the doctor first to say, okay, here's some testing that you need to have done to make sure that there really is nothing majorly wrong, whether from thyroid issues to inflammatory issues to any of those types of issues. But then the person who works best with me is a person who, I'll give them those tools. If somebody calls me and says, I will be the first person to say, hey, you know what? I don't know if I can help you or not, but I have my network of resources are amazing, from therapists to my trainers here at the gym, to all the people that can help to do that. I'll be the first person to say whether I can help somebody or not. 99% of the time, I can help most people, though.
Okay, great. Now, with COVID, and people are kind of concerned about, is it safe to go back and go to a gym to work inside? So what are you doing in Equilibrium Personal Training that ensures client safety?
Man, Phil, that's just such a great question. There's a bunch of things that we're doing. Well, first off, remembering that we are actually a personal training studio. So we never have more than 20 people in the gym at any one time. If we have 20 people in the gym at one time, that's actually a lot. So we're very individualized. And we actually have a couple people who are immunocompromised. So when they come in to do their workouts, we have areas at the gym that we corn off. So it's just the trainer and the person together and nobody else. Of course, we're doing massive sanitation. When somebody needs to wear a mask, we're of course wearing a mask. We all, here at Equilibrium, we all pride ourselves. We're taking really good. We have very strong immune systems. So we're just taking every precaution that somebody needs, depending on what the situation is that they have going on. But we were very fortunate that we could open up sooner than some of the bigger gyms, because we are small and because we can cater to somebody's specific needs. So we're able to do all of that.
Well, great. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, because the information shared is so spot on and it's practical. And it is something that I think everybody should be aware of, that there are options out there. If you're not quite feeling right, there are people you go to find out answers and the underlying cause, so you don't have to continue to go back and try and treat the same problem over and over again. So thank you for being on the show. But if people want to get a hold of you, get more information on Equilibrium Personal Training or you, where should they go?
Hey, Phil, thanks again. This has been, I love helping people. It's something that I've been driven and called to do. And it's just such an amazing gift to be able to give, to help people feel better and grow old with vigor and vitality. The best way to reach us is to go to equilibriumfit.com. That's the best way to reach all of us. My business is also Fit Nut for Life, Amy Baltes. You can Google any one of us, and that's probably the best way to reach us. But check out our website, equilibriumfit.com, and you can access any one of us. If you have any questions, that's the best way. That's the best place to go, and we can get all of your questions answered. Or you can give us a call at 847-387-3042.
Well, again, thank you so much for your gift of health and fitness, and I want you to have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks so much, Phil.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, hosted by Phil Ferris. To learn more about the guests or resources on our show today, or to listen to past episodes, go to nevertoolateforfitness.com.